Hey boys and girls, welcome to Social Studies. Last week we learned about the Cherokee and Creek homes, what tools they used, and what their clothes were made out of. Today I'm going to teach you about the types of food the Cherokee and Creek grew and ate. This is important to know because they lived off of food that they could grow in order to survive. If we look at the different types of food that they ate, they look very similar. You can see that they grew corn, beans, and squash. These are called the Three Sisters. They're referred to as the Three Sisters. So the Cherokee grew corn, beans, and squash, the Three Sisters, and so did the Creek. That is something they had in common, corn, beans, and squash. They would grow this in their garden in their village. Something that they would go around and look for, food. They would look for berries on trees. They would look for nuts that had fallen on the ground, foods that they would go walking and find in the forest. They would not be growing these types of foods usually. And you can see the Creek and the Cherokee both looked for foods like berries and nuts as they were walking, and roots too, as they were walking in the forest for food. That's called gathering. They would gather food. The other thing that the Cherokee and the Creek did was that they hunted. They would hunt for fish. They would hunt for rabbits, turkeys, deer, bears. So these are things that they would go hunting for using those tools that we've talked about. So both the Creek and Cherokee, they grew different types of food, specifically corn, beans, and squash. They would go gathering for food and hunting for food. And all of these types of foods that they would either hunt, gather, or grow was very important to their daily life. They would do this every single day to survive. When we are looking for food, we just usually go to the grocery store, right? Or to a restaurant. Some people might grow some fruits and vegetables in their backyard. Some people might hunt. But for their everyday, daily lives, most people go buy their food. And that is very different from the way that the Native Americans lived a long time ago. They didn't have a grocery store. They didn't have refrigerators to keep their food safe and cold and so it wouldn't go bad. So they constantly were on the hunt for food. They were on the hunt for gathering berries and nuts, and they had to grow their own food. So their lives were very different on a day-to-day basis when it came to food. What we're going to do now is we are going to come together on Zoom and we're going to draw out and label and talk about the different foods that the Cherokee and Creek would eat. And then after we do that, we are going to be taking a quiz over the Cherokee and the Creek information that we've learned last week and this week. So meet me back on Zoom so that way we can review everything and so we can write in our notes about what types of food the Cherokee and Creek ate. See you back on Zoom in a moment.